Hi there, welcome back to the Dukascopy TV studio here in Geneva. I'm Ben Jones. Alongside me for the first part of his three-part interview is Spencer Lodge from Fund Advisors. Spencer, thank you very much for joining us today.
Good afternoon.
So we're going to start off by looking at life insurance. So can you tell us the calculation that's typically used to determine the amount of life cover that an individual would get?
Yeah, it's quite an easy calculation to make, but it depends on a few factors. Number one, what is the cost of living going to be for the family should somebody pass away? And then are there any debts, or are there any inheritance tax liabilities included as well? So you've got different factors to add into it, but a simple example would be, let's assume you needed an income of £25,000 per year. Taken on a return of 5% on an investment, you would need a lump sum of insurance cover of £500,000. That paying that amount out would give you enough to provide for your family's future. So there's a rough rule of thumb, but there are other factors that play a part.
So aside from the amount of cover, what else needs to be taken into consideration?
Well, there's many areas that we need to consider when it comes to life insurance, but the most important thing to understand is the insurance going to be effective in the country that you're taking the insurance out? So, for example, people in the UK may take life insurance policies out that have no policy worth in another country should they go overseas. But also, is there inheritance tax liability? Is it clear? Is it not clear? What kind of information do people need? Well, they need lots, and they need to understand what they need to do.
Okay, now Fund Advisors have a presence across Europe, Asia, Africa. Now, can you elaborate on how the approach to the cover differs in these different geographical locations?
Yeah, it's interesting because you have to consider nationality, you have to consider religion as well. So if you take the Middle East where I'm based, Islamic law doesn't allow for life insurance. It's not something that they usually use. So there's a different theory behind it. However, back in the UK where we're from, it's all standard. Everybody takes life insurance. It's what people need to do. But it is very much focused on, when you look at different jurisdictions, how people purchase that insurance. Do they buy it online? Do they look at it and get some advice? What do they do? And in different locations, people do it in different ways. Some locations focus just on price.
So there seems to be an ever-increasing choice when it comes to life cover. So would you say this is causing a positive trend of people not necessarily seeking advice before they get this cover?
I think if I'm really honest, most people, if you look at the statistics, don't have life cover or anywhere near as much as they need. And I think that's because there is so much choice, it ends up with the paralysis effect. You know, there's too many choices. What do I have? What do I not have? And it's a very complicated process trying to decide what's the right thing for them or not. What we've learned from the people that we deal with is that by finding simple solutions for them, which we have with some of our strategic partners, it makes it much easier for them to get what they need. But it's just, there's so much choice out there. There isn't a lack of need because everybody needs it when they have a family and responsibilities. But if they don't have the right advice, then they don't make the right decisions and they're stuck between a rock and a hard place.
Okay, so do you think people seeking this financial product should seek advice?
Seek advice. Absolutely, they should seek advice. Ask yourself the question, what currency do you need your life insurance to be? What type of life insurance do you need? What kind of insurance don't you need? Are you going to be living overseas? Are you going to be living back home? What exactly would you need when it comes to making your decisions? This is not like car insurance where people need, it's consumer driven, they have to get their car insurance and they go out and buy it straight away. This is something that has to be advice led. And if it's not done correctly, people will end up paying money into premiums for insurance that they just don't need. So the advice is absolutely essential.
Fantastic. Spencer, thank you very much for joining us.
You're welcome.
And thank you for watching. Do make sure you keep clicking back to Dukascopy TV as Spencer will be joining us for part 2 and 3 of his interview. Bye for now.